The Last of Us Part 2 released over half a decade ago, and Naughty Dog are yet to confirm a Part 3. In fact, the internet is surprisingly divided over whether a Part 3 is even going to happen. In my opinion, this debate is completely silly, and I'd go as far to say that The Last of Us Part 3 isn't probably coming someday, but it's actually a certainty. In this video, I'm going to explain why I'm so confident that we will get a third game, and also when I think Naughty Dog could announce it. However, really quickly, I just want to say a big thank you to all of the channel members on the screen. Thank you so much for your support, it really does mean the world to me. And if you'd like to become a member yourself, you can do so via the link in the description. Anyway, let's begin. Okay, so the first thing that everybody always points to when talking about a Part 3 is what Neil Druckmann said about there probably being one more chapter left in this story. However, that's not what I'm here to talk about, and it's actually surprising to me that everybody always ignores this next piece of information, and it came from the one and only Daniel RPK. If you stay up to date with any film or TV rumors, I guarantee you know who this guy is. He's considered to be one of the top insiders in Hollywood. He always gets scoops about Marvel, DC, and other big franchises, and everything he says is always taken with a lot of credibility. And this leads me to what he said back in March about The Last of Us Part 3. He said that not only have Naughty Dog began production, but they've actually already cast people and filmed scenes. Not only did he just say this, he also doubled down on the credibility of the rumor, saying that he knew for a fact that this actually happened. A claim said with this much confidence from a top industry insider, to me, is a major indication that The Last of Us Part 3 is definitely coming someday. Despite my confidence, of course we do have to remember that this is still just speculation. Even though Daniel RPK is a very credible insider, that doesn't mean that everything he says is fact. But his words definitely do have a lot of weight to them, and I honestly don't understand how anybody could see what he said, as well as what Neil Druckmann said last year, and think that The Last of Us Part 3 isn't at the very least being worked on at Naughty Dog. And you could argue that yes, even if it is being developed, that doesn't mean that it'll ever see the light of day. But given the popularity of the franchise, as well as the success of the TV show, even if the second season wasn't very good, I think it's safer to assume that we will see it someday. Moving on, now that I've given my opinion that The Last of Us Part 3 is almost definitely in development at Naughty Dog, I want to give my thoughts on when I think it could be announced. First of all, I think there is a 0% chance that we see anything related to The Last of Us Part 3 before Naughty Dog releases Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. I think they'll want people to only talk about their new IP in order to make sure that it sells well. So let's assume that best case scenario, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet releases in 2027. I'm basing that on the fact that Jason Schreier, who's also a very notable insider, said that he doesn't think that Intergalactic is a 2026 title. So now that we're in 2027, another thing that's rumored to release that year is the third season of The Last of Us TV show. In my opinion, I can totally see Naughty Dog announcing the third game around about the time that the third season is, because that would get everybody talking about The Last of Us again, and it would really renew interest in the show. I assume by this point, most of Naughty Dog will be working on the game full time, as Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet will be out of the door, or at the very least, very close to being finished. So I really don't think it's far-fetched to say that we could get an announcement in 2027, and then a release a couple years later for the PlayStation 6, maybe in 2029 or 2030. And I know, that sounds like ages away, but unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait a long time. Because of course, their full attention right now isn't on The Last of Us Part 3. So even if it is in development, which I'm fairly confident it is, it's gonna be a long time before the game is even close to being finished. But yeah, that's basically all I had to talk about today. I know it's a quick video, but I just really wanted to alleviate some people's fears, because I see way too many people online concerned that a Part 3 may never happen, and I just totally disagree. Of course, as I've said before, nothing is confirmed, but I would feel safe in telling you to get your hopes up for a Part 3, because I really do think it's inevitable, and one day we will be playing it. Anyway, make sure to subscribe and tell me in the comments down below if you liked the video. Any feedback is very much appreciated, and make sure to subscribe and follow my Twitter as well. Have a good day, goodbye.